we're with Star Collector Vic from Canada, correct, Vic?
Correct, from Canada.
BC? Are you in BC?
I am in BC, Vancouver, BC, North Vancouver, BC, to be precise.
What's the weather like up there right now?
Let me have a look. It's nice.
Nice. No snow or anything?
No. And actually, I live up at the top of like kind of pretty high up. So if we don't have snow, there's no snow in our neighborhood like at all.
Oh, wow.
We're the first to get it.
Yeah.
No, Vancouver is pretty snowless. Like, people have this image of Canada as being tundra,
right?
Like this huge country covered in tundra. And to be fair, there are large portions of the country that are, got lots of snow for a lot of months of the year, but Vancouver's not one of them.
Okay,
which is one of
cool.
the reasons I chose to move here. Had enough of snow growing up in Edmonton, which is one of those places that does get a lot of snow for a long time.
For those of you who missed the last show, Vic is the front man of the Star Collector, who one of our garage door favorites. And Vic, before we started recording, we were talking about what's up with the new recordings. Can you share with us a little bit?
Okay, I will. It's not a secret or anything, but well, certainly not a secret now.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot. No, we've been working on a bunch of new stuff for a while now, and like we were saying off air, sometimes like writer's block is a real thing, but it hasn't been the case for us in the last little bit. Steve and I have written a whole lot of songs together, and I've written a bunch myself, and I've co-written with some other people, one with my brother Adam, and a couple special people that will remain secret until the album's a little closer. But
very cool.
But yeah, it's just been incredibly fruitful lately, like to the point where, I think when we spoke last a couple months ago, you asked me off air, and I think at that point we had about 15 songs to choose from, and I think we'd whittled it down to 11 or 12. And since then, I think we now have 5 more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and 4 of those are like new. So Steve and I were joking this morning that like, what are we going to have album 7 done at the same time as album 6? But we're not doing the double album thing. I don't think that's in the cards. We'll whittle it down, and then we'll just see what happens. But yeah, it's really great. And the other thing that's happened, I guess, I don't know if this was the case when we spoke last, but we've got a new, another bass player. So not a new bass player, because my brother Adam's still on the new recordings and still taking part in it. But we also have a local guy here named Tony Kerr, who's just a really, really fine player, and he used to play with our drummer Adrian before in another band, and we've kind of known him, but we've never played with him before, and he just slotted in beautifully. So we kind of are navigating like a 5/4 time thing, if you will. Like,
wow.
2 bass players. No, I don't mean like, Yes or stuff like that. Sorry, Tony. Tony watches this. Yeah, he loves Yes, but it's kind of like we're a 4-piece band, but we've got 5 members at the moment.
Right.
So
Yeah.
And both Adam and Tony are going to be playing on the new record, and Adam will do some singing and stuff. But yeah, it's super exciting. I'm thrilled with the way the new stuff's turning out.
Well, we're glad things are flowing, because that's good news for us, because that means more music coming our way.
There will be at some point. Still got to, finish the recording, then the mixing, then the mastering, and the artwork and the production. I mean, it's a long process, but we're getting through it a lot faster than I thought we would. So
that's awesome.
Like I said, pretty exciting times. Yeah.
Well, Vic, what is the process, if I may ask? Do you usually, is it guitar first for you, piano? What do you compose on? And just, if you could build us up a little bit, how Star Collector makes the finished product, or is it varies depending?
Well, yeah, I mean, just for starters, I can't play piano to save my life, so that's out of the equation altogether. But usually our songs come about in one of 2 ways. Either I write them on my own, just sitting there with an acoustic guitar and old school pen and paper, or even sometimes I get ideas. I'm driving around and I'll pull over and I'll put it into my notes on my phone, like a couple of lines of lyrics or whatever. But usually either that, or that Steve and I either sit together and write music together, or he comes up with stuff and sends it to me, and then I kind of work with it. So those are kind of the 2 main ways that we do our stuff. On this record, there are going to be a few other co-writes. Like my brother Adam and I did write one of the songs together, and we did that while we were together in person one time having a visit. but primarily it's those two ways. And it is sort of a mystery how it all ends up as finished material. But the process seems to be that for me, words tend to come last. And they're often informed by the tone of the music. So, if the music has sort of a mournful feel to it, or if the music has the tinge of anger in the way that it comes across, that'll often get me spiraling into whatever the lyrical approach is going to be. And as you guys know, because I think we talked before, even though we're fine with the whole being part of power pop, I mean, hell, I'm wearing my International Pop Overthrow shirt from when we played the Cavern in, I don't know, 2004 or something like that. Thanks, David Bash, if you're watching. But even though that's kind of our main thing, lyrically, I tend to go outside of that quite a bit. I don't write those, boy girl love song things too. It's not that I can't do it. I think maybe I've already done it a lot when I was younger, and I'm kind of wanting to be a little more searching and a little more introspective and writing about, maybe a lot of them are heavier things. But so if the music takes me in one direction, then the lyrics will that's the kind of mood I'll get in as I play that music. And the melodies will often be, if the chord progression seems like it could, lead to a mournful melody, then quite often the lyrics will then be about some topic that's a little more like that. And that's kind of the way that it works. And I was joking in a print interview the other day but it's totally true, is often I'll just sit there with the acoustic guitar, and once the chords are kind of figured out, and as I'm working out the melody, the words always seem to be the phrase "in your eyes." Don't ask me why, but it's like this placeholder. You're just playing along, and every time you need a phrase, you'll be humming something meaningless and something totally, and then you need it in your eyes. Like it just, and it just sits there until you actually write the real words. But it helps. It helps me with the melody. So, songwriting is an interesting thing. I've read some books on other people, and I do remember a long time ago that there was this interesting conundrum I found between the way, say, Paul Simon writes songs and the way that Keith Richards writes songs, because those two stuck with me. And Keith Richards was all about that esoteric, ethereal kind of, the songs are just out there, man, and I channel through them, and then there they are. Of course, I'm doing like a California dude when I should be doing a British hey, 420 Keith Richards. Perfect time. And then Paul Simon had talked about the way he wrote was actually much more kind of set. He would set time aside in the morning to sit in his writing room, and he would work on songs. Then he would take a break for lunch. Like, it was all very formal,
like a job, kind of regimented,
kind of like exactly. So I found that really interesting, and I think I'm just somewhere in between. Sometimes it's more like one, sometimes it's more like the other. But what's really cool is when something comes really quickly, and if it comes really quickly to me, I'll then start second guessing, is this actually good? it didn't seem like it should be good that quickly. And you end up tossing out a lot of shit doing it that way. But if something sticks, sometimes the stuff that comes really quickly is gold. So one of the new songs that we're going to be doing on the album, I wrote in an hour.
Oh wow. Yeah,
like literally in an hour. And I did second guess it, because I'm like, well, this can't be good enough. I need to toil and pull my hair out on it. But it just kept sticking with me. And but for a few lyric changes, it ended up being exactly as I came up with in that hour. And the band all liked it the way it was. And
wow.
So there's that. And then there's other ones that, they can take months of
the labor, you labor on.
Right. So there is no magic potion, I don't think. I don't know, maybe other songwriters you've had on will say differently, but for me, that's kind of what it is, man. It's just in your eyes.
Well, McCartney went around with Yesterday. He played it. Hey, where have I heard this? He woke up, it was just there. So he went around, is this a song? Is this a song? Have I heard this? So I think sometimes I think especially with songwriters, it's in the ether. You're a channel, and you're in tune with it enough where it just flows through you and you're able to get there. So, like the song you said just came in an hour.
Yeah, it is. You're right. I mean, sometimes they are just out there, and you can grab them. I mean, that's that Keith Richards thing, and or at least enough of them that you convince yourself that they're worth continuing to work on.
Right.
I will say that pretty much everything has some degree of inspiration for me. It can't just be perspiration.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
to me, that ends up falling flat in the end. If it's just you're just working at it and working at it and not feeling that there's some emotional core to it. And that doesn't mean it has to be something super heavy, you know, about suicide or about
Whatever,
addiction or mental health, whatever. But it still has to have an emotional core. One of the songs on Game Day that isn't one of the heavier ones, called Cayenne and Caramel, is just literally about first loves and first lusts, and that how when you look back on them, there's a certain sort of bittersweetness about it all. Hence the term Cayenne and Caramel.
Yeah.
So it's not super deep, but there's an emotional core there
Yeah.
that we can all relate to, that when you think back to when you were 16 and had your first real crush on somebody, or your first sexual experience was, you know, whatever it was, they hold a certain place there in
Right.
your memory that's powerful. So yeah, so that's kind of blah blah blah.
Well, no, Vic, I think you hit
Canadians
a.
never shut up.
No, I think you hit a. I think why Craig and I love Star Collector, and your music in particular, your writing, is its authenticity. I mean, it's authentic. It's not, well, okay, I've got to write a boy meets girl power pop song, so I'm going to, you know. Am I right there, Craig? I mean, can you expand on that, you know?
Yeah, I think the way that you got your stuff is, nothing's the same. Everything's different. And that, because it's not just a formula for you guys. And that to me is what makes it so much better, is that might hear one song and the next song is a completely different feel to it, but you can usually tell probably what mood you were in when you wrote it, you know, just by the way it feels.
Oh, that's a wonderful. I'm flattered. That's a great analysis too, because even when I listen back to them, and certainly when I'm writing them, you're right. There's a certain pervasive feeling about them, and whether it's something, you know, a little bit tongue in cheek like Cayenne and Caramel, or whether it's something super heavy like Super Zero Blues or Hook, Line, and Singer or whatever. Yeah, it's true. There is a certain emotional component to it that I am feeling and trying to get across in it. So the fact that it translates and that you guys pick up on it is hugely flattering. So I'm smiling inside of fun. Yeah, I'm smiling outside now. Thank you. Yeah, and you know what? On this new record, it's going to be the same thing. You know, like I said, there's going to be some that are kind of quintessential power pop, kind of, you know, high energy. They'd fit in with the Jam and Sloan and the Who and all that. Like there'll be those. But there's a lot of tangents in there, and there's going to be a few that I'm sure that people that are used to hearing the you know 2.5 minute boy girl love songs with, you know, lots of D, A, E progressions. They're gonna be like, really? Okay. I'm not sure I'd call that power pop, but you know, this thing about power pop, like people get really caught up in this community on what is. In fact, we were on a show today from Ireland that was, the whole theme of it was, is this power pop? That was kind of and it was great. Lots of great artists and lots of stuff I enjoyed, and I was in on the chat and it was loads of fun. But there's like an awful lot of energy expended for people on social media, especially
Yes.
post some song and then these other people will chime in with this, you know, no way, that's not like, and boy, if it's not, that means it's a piece of shit.
Right.
And that's so like,
that
is such a crock of shit, because there's I love so many kinds of music, man.
Right. Yes, that's it. And that's, Vic, where I want to touch. And Craig, you know, I feel sorry for in that a lot of artists coming up, I don't know how it was in Canada, but for us, we might turn on our radio station and seriously, as a kid, I might hear the Beatles and I might hear Frank Sinatra. I mean, it was a true mixture rather than just a specific genre. Now everybody, they're not, I guess I'm getting ahead of my thoughts here, but what I'm trying to say is, for example, the Beatles grew up on all that, like show music and tunes like that. And of course, rock and roll too. But it created, so they had all this in their musical palette and they could appreciate it all. I mean, if you listen to like a record on a Friday night, I may listen to country, then something brand hip hop, and then, I mean, just all over the place. I can appreciate it all. But if you're locked into it's power pop, and sorry, I mean, I think you're closing yourself off a lot there, you know?
I really do too. So, and I'm not trying to sell any specific people short or anything.
No, me either.
I'm
No.
thrilled to be part of it. But I don't fully subscribe to that. And, like there's a lot of artists that people will poo poo on these blogs and on these channels. And I'll be sitting there going, wow, I really like that group.
Right.
And I like that group since I was a kid. And I'm, like Led Zeppelin's not power pop, but I love Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just like,
I don't like bands getting pigeonholed into a certain genre.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for me, I like what I like, and the band has diverse interests. Like I said, I mean, Tony loves Yes. I mean, they're as far from power pop as you get. Right. And my brother and I love Echo and the Bunnymen and Julian Cope and that that side of things, Simple Minds, like that whole kind of vibe was huge for us growing up, along with our love of the Jam. Right. And Steve, who grew up in small town BC, in small town BC, grew up on kind of like Van Halen and like the heavier guitar kind of stuff, because he's a few years younger than I am too. And so there's a lot of diverse interests that come in and out of what we do. And rather than say, geez, this song, boy, the power pop,
right,
folks or the aficionados are not going to buy that. It's like, well, fuck that, man. It's a cool song and we like it. And
exactly.
If it's 6 minutes and change and it's kind of slow and moody and sounds like Julian Cope on 420, then it's just, that's what it's going to be, man. So
but see, that's what keeps you guys authentic.
Yes.
Is that you haven't pigeonholed yourself into something.
Yes, I agree. Changing topics real fast, Vic. Now, were you guys a musical family? It sounds like, were you and Adam growing up, were you able to sit and play guitars together and that kind of stuff?
We sure were, actually. No, my parents weren't musicians, which is interesting. There's 4 kids in my family, all of whom are musically inclined and musicians. But the only music that my dad played a little mandolin. And when I say a little, I mean a little. Like, he was a doctor and he didn't pick the mandolin up every night and start strumming, just once in a blue moon.
Right.
But there was always kind of music in the house. My dad loved old, like 60s Neil Diamond stuff, which, before he got kind of schmaltzy, was some great songwriting.
Yes.
Like I'm a Believer and Cherry Cherry and Solitary Man and
Brother Salvation's, what is it, Brother?
Salvation, Traveling Salvation. Like tons and tons of great songs he wrote. Before it kind of got into Coming to America. And
that's when he kind of jumped the shark for me. Now, his last album he did with Rick Rubin was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think I did hear a little bit of that, but I can't really remember. So, but I guess the point being that there was some kind of decent music. And then when we were really little, the Beatles and the Monkees were really the first thing that we would hear. And we really got into them. So that was kind of the first thing. And then a little bit later, I kind of got into, the more American garagey hard rock stuff, like early Aerosmith. And my favorite was at the time was the Alice Cooper group, the original. Cooper group.
Me too, Vic. I love that. When the band was together, Glenn Buxton and Smith and supposedly they're reforming. Now, I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, they have played with Alice on a number of shows and stuff, although Glenn Buxton's passed away quite a while ago now.
Oh, is that it? Okay, I'm sorry.
But the other 3 guys have gotten back and done some shows with him, and I'm a big fan of Michael Bruce's songwriting too, and
yes,
to this day. So then there was that kind of thing, and then putting on Black Juju on the record because it was 9 minutes, and then going and making out with some girl when you were 10. Because you had 9 minutes to pull your move in some little under basement tent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's not just why I liked Alice Cooper, but it didn't hurt. So there was that, and then Adam and I both, kind of grew up through the time the Jam and the Clash and a lot of that stuff was that was kind of when we were at the sweet spot of our musical, when we could play our instruments well enough. And we were already starting to write songs ourselves. And right at that time was when that was happening. So we were still pretty young, but we were really dedicated to it. And the guitar player that was in the band with us at the time, who I started Star Collector with, incidentally, the 3 of us just dove head on into the mod thing because we all loved mod music. We loved the Who. The Jam were like our you know, I mean,
God, yeah.
I'll show you. See, like I got this sitting there in my little room here.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah,
Sweet.
it's pretty much yeah. And we saw them one time when we were kids. We got to see them before they broke up, and I've got a signed T-shirt. I'm wearing it in the Silent Type video. It's actually got the autograph. Someone the other day asked me if that was an authentic autograph, or if, you know, I was like, yeah, man, it's real. So they were kind of like the sweet spot for us during that time. And Adam and I kind of traversed that whole time together, even though I'm a few years older. I kind of brought him along. There's a funny story. I remember when Dave, the guitar player, and the other original member of our very first group came over to ask me to play drums with them, because they knew that I'd been playing, I was a drummer before. They said, so I said, well, okay, let's hear you play. And I heard them play, because I was a year or two older than them, and we're all like young, right? So yeah. And I said, yeah, these guys can play all right. And they said, well, do you want to start a band? And I said, sure, as long as my brother Adam's involved. He was played piano at the time. And they kind of looked at each other and had a little conference, and they came back to me and said, well, we were thinking that we just might want to be like a 3-piece. And I said, nope, he's in, or forget it. So they begrudgingly said okay, and then he ended up becoming the lead singer and
took over the band.
Guy disappeared, and it all worked out as it should. But he's super talented. So, and I guess I recognized it at a young age that you know, he's going to be a really good singer and he could write. And so we did that, and then we went through that time where bands like Echo and the Bunnymen were like a real huge thing for us too. So really long-winded answer to your simple question is that's kind of been the journey. It's like the Beatles and the Monkees and the Alice Cooper group, and then the Jam stuff, and then a bit of that, you know, Echo and the Bunnymen thing, which we still pull into what we do. Like the Super Zero Blues video is very much, it's more like an Echo and the Bunnymen song with a bit of heavier guitars than it is like a power pop song. I'm even wearing like a Bunnymen t-shirt in the video, and so again, this kind of goes back to why we don't like to pigeonhole everything into one kind of thing, right? It's like, you know, if we feel like going down that road, then, you know, fuck it, let's do it.
But that's Star Collector. That's why we like it. Mix it all up, and what comes out. Yeah,
lime in the coconut, baby.
Apologies to Harry Nilsson. Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, Vic, so when can we expect the new album? And I hate to put you on the spot, but when will stuff start percolating out?
Well, it's a little early to say. I mean, we're still tracking, but like I said, we're moving a little more quickly than I expected. But our original target date was to be January of next year. That was that's what our original target date was. And even though I think we maybe finished it before then, I think we might still stick to that. We you know, the last experience with putting something out right at the beginning of the year and then having that whole year to work it, and it really seemed to work well. And I don't know. I mean, and that way we don't have to rush it. You know, we just literally are, you know, I haven't even started the artwork yet. You know, Steve was asking me this morning, funnily enough, you know, if I had any ideas for the title, and I shot him a couple ideas, and so we're still pretty preliminary in that. And then Adrian and I have to, you know, our drummer, he does all the mixing and the mastering, but I produce it. So the two of us sit there, you know, head to head for hours and hours and hours. Sure. And that's going to take quite a while to do as well. And we still have a few guests to bring in too, some vocalists, some keyboard players, and some guitar players and stuff that we're going to pepper throughout it that again I'm super excited about.
It sounds very exciting.
We want when you're ready to announce who these are, please come on, even for 15 minutes, and let us know. We want to know who the surprise guests are.
Yeah, when it's ready to go, I'll be happy to come back on. We can do a whole thing, and I can, you know. But yeah, it's just great, and you know, like having such good guys to work with it's just such a pleasure, you know, like there's no bullshit. Everyone's just kind of got their thing that they do, and they do it really well. And, you know, no one, like if I'm thinking, let's bring a guest vocalist in for this song, Steve doesn't sort of get his nose out of joint that he's not singing the harmony. Right. Yeah. Where the song Adam and I wrote together, it's like, you know, Steve had never sung harmonies in the rehearsal room while we were working on it. Cause he said to me at the end, after we recorded, he goes, yeah, I just assumed Adam would sing the harmony on this. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. He will, because we wrote it together. so there's a lot of that. Everyone's kind of just,
But that's good that you guys get along and everybody kind of knows their role. And
yeah, it's awesome. It's great. Like I said, I couldn't be happier.
Vic, this is another off the wall question here. The Marx Brothers, like before they put out Duck Soup or any of those Going Coconuts, they took it out on the road. Have you ever like taken songs before you've recorded to see how they work out on the road? And if you could talk about that for just a minute.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, the pre-game day stuff when we were still doing shows, we had written a bunch of those songs pre-pandemic. So the last, I don't know, 5 shows maybe that we did before everything came to a halt, we did actually play Rip It Off and Super Zero Blues and maybe one of the others. So we had had that experience. And then you want to see, you're right, you do kind of want to see if there's a reaction to them. And you can't take that too seriously sometimes, because there's certain songs that may not be made for a live audience,
right,
especially like a mellower thing. So you can't judge it on that. But certainly with the more high energy stuff that you'd expect to maybe do at an actual, at a live gig where you're gonna, do mostly the high energy. And we're a pretty high energy band too. It's no shoegazing for us. We're all about the windmills and scissor kicks. It's you do like to get a little bit of feedback from when you play them to see if they go over okay, and we do that. I mean, we didn't have the opportunity to do it on this batch of songs because we haven't played a gig for over 2 years.
Right.
But yeah, so it is tricky. But I think the other thing that happens, it's kind of like songwriting. I get asked about that a fair bit, and I just always come back to, if you've done something long enough, you can spot the bullshit a little more quickly.
Right.
Yes. Amen.
Like if you're writing something and you're like, is this going to be okay? If you have to ask yourself that too many times, then it's probably not.
Right.
And if it just feels it, like Steve and I wrote a song in about a week, which isn't an hour, but just recently in a week, that I'm just nuts about. I'm absolutely nuts about it. And it came from start to finish, from sit down, first little chord progression he had, to finished lyrics, finished everything in like a week. And I was like, damn. So sometimes you just know. And it's the same thing with live, is it's good to do it in front of an audience, but even then, sometimes you just know when a song's going to work for whatever purpose it serves on the album. And that might mean that it's an acoustic song, or it might mean that it's a 6.5 minute psychedelic kind of workout. But with experience, I think you get a little bit better feel for that. You're not always right, I think, I don't remember if we talked about this last time, but I was sort of surprised that the song Green Eyes got such a good response. Did we talk about that? I can't remember.
We did.
I think we did. Yeah.
It just,
love that song.
Yeah, and I think in retrospect, I can now hear it. So that was one of the ones that I did sort of miss in that process. So even with your own stuff, maybe that's part of it, is with your own stuff.
Right.
You're not always the very best judge, but I think I'm good enough a judge.
Sometimes you're too close to it.
To pick out weed out most of the questionable ones and try to keep the good nuggets.
Now, Vic, any chance, are things opening up for you guys there in BC? Are there venues opening up to play in yet, or is it still kind of closed down?
Well, there's some of the same venues as well last time we talked, but there's not a lot more. And a part of the problem is that there may not be a lot more, because some of the ones that closed down don't look to be reopening.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not sure what's going to happen in Vancouver for rock and roll music, at least. I mean, there'll be nightclubs that'll eventually reopen for the 18-year-olds to go, and the 19-year-olds here, I guess. But I don't know. It's kind of the same thing. Sometimes you have to look a little further afield if you want to start doing some shows. And, God knows I'd love to get out where you guys are. And I'd love to get out to I saw that some people we know in this community are playing at like IPO Chicago. And all I can think about is how many people we know in that area that have said, if you come out here, we'll get you a gig.
Oh, yeah.
We could probably do 2 or 3 gigs right in that vicinity.
Sure.
If we could find our way out there. But alas, we're on the west coast.
It's a long ways for you guys.
Yeah, but I guarantee you that Craig and I would get you at least a gig. if it's here in my house in front of the rec, we would get you a gig.
Oh, I appreciate that. It just, I love hearing that, and I hate hearing that at the same time,
Right.
because it's just like what more what would I rather be doing? I'd love to go and do that, and maybe we will, like,
Right.
I'm not saying we're not going to, but it's just the logistics and the financial, there's a lot that goes into touring that far afield. So we'll see, but ever hopeful.
Vic, any label interest as far as a new label and the new album? Have you heard anything or know anything yet?
Well, there are some labels that we know that are smaller labels. Not these days the days of the big labels are. They're not signing power pop.
And you don't want to be. The people I've talked to, you don't want to be a part of those. It's just very tough. Distribution's nice, but it's tough going. You're told what to play. Here's the beat you're playing it to. Shut up and be a pretty face. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a thing of the past, and certainly it's a thing of the past for everyone, and certainly for us, it's a thing of the past because the style of music we do doesn't resonate with the young crowd the way that it did 20 years ago.
It should.
So knowing that, you can, so there are some smaller labels. I can think of at least 4, just boom off the top of my head, that I've watched over this past year and a bit and been impressed with. That we might go down that road. Although, for me, the thing is always how much more can they do for us that we can't already do? We already have in-house artwork, we have in-house video, we have in-house mixing and mastering. I can produce. I'm fairly good at this kind of promo shtick.
Right.
Need be. And I'm not afraid to seek it out. Like some musicians don't like that part of it, but I quite enjoy meeting you guys and getting.
Oh yeah, love it.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, if I really think that there are some things that they could or would do for us, like will they do a pressing of vinyl?
Right.
Okay. Well, that might be a pull to sign up with some label if they're willing to do that. If they're willing to just do a small run of CDs, well, the amount that costs us to do is negligible.
Right. So you can,
that's not a big enough pull, right? You might as well just keep it all here. So we'll see. Never again, like touring, never say never. There's and there's some great people out there that I really respect. So we'll see.
Well, we can't wait for the new album. Yeah, we can't wait for the new album. But Vic, I would mind if I was asking if you would mind playing a game of Either Or again. Do you remember Either Or?
I'm not sure I do, but
I don't know if we played it last time with them.
Did we not play Either Or, Vic?
I don't remember if we did.
I don't think we played a game. Maybe I just chatted too much, or maybe maybe you guys got tired of me and cut it off early or something.
Well, sometimes
or maybe you just thought I'd be bad at it.
You gotta
here we go.
Do it.
Okay, here we go. Either Or. You have to just say Either Or. Don't have to justify it. First up, Either Or. We have The Creature from the Black Lagoon or Pee Wee Herman.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay. Next, we have Buddy Holly, Rave On, or Johnny Horton, North to Alaska.
Buddy Holly, Rave On.
Good choice.
Craig?
Oh, yeah. That's a good choice.
Yeah, Buddy for me, yeah. Even though the Johnny Horton song's good. Okay, we have Marvin Hamlish, music from the Sting, The Entertainer, or Davy Jones, Girl.
Ooh.
Man, that's a tough one.
You know what? That is a tough one, and you're going to be surprised at my answer because we got our name from a Monkey song, and I like Davy Jones' voice and stuff. But I'm going with the Sting.
Hey,
and the reason is because I absolutely love that movie, and the very first song my brother Adam mastered enough to play at
the piano.
His first piano. What are they called? Recital.
Yeah,
was The Entertainer.
Okay,
so I'm gonna go with that one.
That was an oddly difficult either or with that one, Troy.
I know, and Girl's a great tune. I mean, but it's The Entertainer for me. Craig, what about for you?
You know what? I think that's the one I'd pick too.
That was huge. I mean, I love when that movie came out. I was just a kid, but I absolutely loved it.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. House of the Rising Sun by the Animals, or the Johnny Burnett Trio, Oh Baby Babe.
House of the Rising Sun.
Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer to me.
Really? Oh, I've got to go with Johnny Burnett Trio. This is
Really?
hot rockabilly cats.
House of the Rising Sun. That was a one-take record right there.
Yeah.
Recorded
Yes.
that in one
I
take.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You learn something every day.
Birds, 8 Miles High, or the Barkays, Soul Finger.
Oh, I mean that one's the easiest one so far. The Birds, 8 Miles High. I love the Birds, and
Yeah, me too. Me
and
too.
I love early psychedelia too, where bands were just Tomorrow Never Knows and that where in our Hendrix stuff where they're really trying to explore.
Me too, Vic. Love it. Love it. Okay, we've got a few more if you guys are cool with this.
Oh yeah, man, do it.
Okay. Blues Image, Ride Captain Ride, or the Beach Boys, That's Why God Made the Radio.
What was the first one?
Ride Captain Ride by Blues Image.
Oh yeah. Oh.
73 men sailed up.
Don't sing, Troy.
So
I know, yeah.
So are we playing? Can we play neither nor?
Yes, you can play neither.
Yeah. So neither of those slay me, but it's funny. This is one of the places where I diverge from a lot of the power pop community. Is I'm not a big Beach Boys fan. I
appreciate them. I'm not huge. Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of my thing. I can appreciate the vocal work, and I do like some of the songs a lot.
I'm the same
but it's
way.
like a handful for me, and they're to me they always get thrown in that same conversation with the Beatles and the Who, and for me that's just not the case.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I don't. What other people like is their call. But the problem was with this either or. That was kind of where I ended up. So
neither nor on that one.
Neither nor.
You too, Craig. Neither nor. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple more. We'll be done, guys. Okay. Crowded House, Don't Dream It's Over, or Johnny Cash, Come In Stranger.
Ooh.
Crowded House.
I go Crowded House.
I love Neil Finn.
I do too. What an underrated genius. I mean, seriously.
Love his stuff.
I mean, I love Johnny Cash, but not that particular song. But Don't Dream It's
so easily recognizable too.
Yeah,
just like Johnny Cash's stuff. But
yep.
Yeah, I got nothing against Johnny Cash at all. But
right.
But that's when you're putting Crowded House there, that one's an easy one for me.
We cover that with the band I'm in. We cover that, and I love. We also cover Weather Without You, and yeah. Okay, couple more.
Sure.
Okay, we have Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Every Day I Write the Book, or Roseanne Cash, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party.
Every day I write the book.
Yeah.
Every day for you guys?
Oh, yeah. You can't go wrong with Elvis Costello, ever.
Well, especially the Attractions. Yeah, Elvis is great. I mean, very prolific, but a great artist.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't like my brother Adam was a monster fan of Elvis Costello. That was one of the places where he kind of got more into than I did. But I like a lot of his stuff, and I've learned to like more of it in retrospect. But yeah, that one's
still has great records. I mean, still has great records. Okay, here we go. A couple more. Going Up the Country, Canned Heat, or Elvis Costello, Watching the Detectives.
Oh, Watching the Detectives. I'm not a big Canned Heat kind of. That's
see, I'm going to go Canned Heat on that one.
I'm going Canned Heat too, Vic.
That's all right. That's all right.
And I hate that.
I almost always veer. I almost always veer towards the British. If there's a British and American choice, which is nothing against Americans, because there's hardly ever a Canadian choice. But given those two, yeah. Actually, speaking of which, before we do another one, today I saw that, you guys remember that one, kind of a one-hit wonder, but pretty big hit, that song, Mama Let 'Em Play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Doucette, he died today.
Oh.
Yeah, that was his huge name. So, song that all of us Canadians for sure grew up on.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Vic, did Chum come to you? The Canadian, that's all I've heard about it. A lot of Canada, Chum was a big radio station. Growing up, was that the station in your part of the world?
I'm just not sure if Chum was sort of an overall station that had other ones that came out of it, because they didn't have Chum in Edmonton, but they had one called Ched, and I don't know, and that was the big station there. So I'm not sure if they're affiliated or not. I think Chum might have been in Toronto. I don't know.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So not specifically that station.
Right.
Okay, real fast. 3 more. Okay, we've got Alice Cooper, I'm 18, or Better Call Saul by Junior Brown.
Oh, okay. Is Better Call Saul? Is this like the theme song?
Yeah,
Oh
from Junior
man.
Brown.
I love
Okay.
Junior Brown.
Do I have to do either or? Because
Either or.
this is where I want to do both. But if I have to
Yes.
choose one, I can almost, the only thing that would usurp Alice Cooper is if you put like a jam song that I really like, a blues song. So I gotta go Alice Cooper, but that's the hardest one you put
That
on.
is a
'Cause
tough
I
one.
love that freaking show. What an amazing! Did you see the other night?
No, don't. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, I won't say anything, but man, it's like two and a half hour. It's like two episodes together. It's like a long movie. It's
Oh wow,
awesome.
Greg, you saw Junior Brown not too long ago, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I love Junior Brown live. Oh, so good.
What a great guitarist. Okay. I'm just this 45. I'm a big record collector,
Just so you
Jake.
know,
So I just
Troy
keep
will do this all night long. If you
I
like.
Oh, I
know.
love
I
it.
saw that last time we were on. You had your record collection. You did the panoramic view.
Oh,
yeah.
Like,
Okay, we'll be quick.
I was that emoji. You know this one.
Buddy Holly, Think It Over, or Dylan, Positively 4th Street.
Buddy Holly, for me.
Man,
You're wrong, Craig. You're wrong.
that's another tough one because I like both of them in about the same kind of way. Which Buddy Holly song was it? Think It Over.
Yeah, Think It Over, which is great. I love one of my favorite songs of all time. But in this case, either or, it's Dylan for me.
Yeah, I think just by a eyelash, I'm going to go with Dylan on that one.
Well, the reason I picked Dylan, it's just he has that. Just it's the spite. It's the spite in Positively 4th Street.
Yeah.
You know what a drag it is to see you. If you could stand in my shoes, you'd know what a drag it is to see you. I love that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more, and we are done. We'll let you go. It's the same artist. Okay. Where are you? Slim Harpo, Baby Scratch My Back, or the Bostweeds, Little Bad News.
I don't actually know either of those songs, so I can't comment.
I don't know that one, but I know Slim Harpo. I picked Slim Harpo.
Baby, I'm a scratch. You'll know, Vic. You know this one. You just haven't. I mean, I'm sure you know it. If you were to look it up, you go, "Oh yeah, I know that." This you've heard of before, you guys. It's Tarantino used it on some stuff years ago,
Okay.
so it's one of those kind of instrumental type tunes.
Okay,
But,
then I'd probably go with that.
I'm not
because
familiar
I love his
with the name
musical
of it
taste.
though.
yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you for playing with me.
My pleasure. Thanks.
My wife is so.
That's good fun. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. So
I did-
the last one kind of petered out there because I didn't have an answer, but
Well, let me see if I've got one more to give you an answer here. Let me see.
yeah, let's finish on a high note.
Yes. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
This will be good. Okay. Sammy Davis Jr., the Candyman, or Donovan, Epistle to Dippy.
Sammy Davis Jr., the Candyman.
I agree.
I like Donovan, but when I was a kid, I was in school choir when I was like 9 and 10, and we sang the Candyman. And I
Candyman.
loved it.
Yeah,
So I'm going all the way back to the Candyman.
old school.
How about you, Craig?
I go Candyman with that one too.
Candyman it is. All right.
That's
All right.
That's a high note for me. I'll be humming
That's a good one.
Candyman for the rest of the night.
One more question. Okay. This is a movie related to Candyman.
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka?
Ooh, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Say Gene Wilder for me.
Me too. Yep, that's Charlie. Willy Wonka is the one with Johnny Depp as the guy. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for me by far. Yep. Vic, thank you for putting up with us. Thanks for hanging out in the garage with us, man.
We're glad you come and hang with us.
Anytime, man. We anytime you guys want to have me, I'm happy to do it. There's nothing I'd rather do is sit and talk about music and
I appreciate it, and we look forward to the Star Collector LP coming out in January. Maybe we're keeping our fingers crossed. But if you have any lead tracks, let us know. We'll get it on the air as Legally Split.
I think we might do like what we did with the last one is we put Rip It Off out about 3 weeks, I want to say, before the album came out, 3 or 4 weeks. So we might do that again. We might sort of do a little taster thing, but not a bunch of them before the album comes out. We'll probably just do one. I mean, don't hold me.
We
to
will
that,
always
but at
take a
this
little
point,
taste.
Yes. maybe like at the very end of this year.
Yeah.
We'll pop one of the singles out and then we'll do the full album maybe in January if all goes to plan.
Vic, I forgot one question I wanted to ask. Have you watched Get Back yet? The Disney Plus thing.
I'm sorry to say that I haven't, which is amazing because, I'm a huge Fabs fan, but we don't have Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it's a little more complicated because our younger son has it, but he recently moved because he's old enough to do that now. And he's got it, but we don't have it. And we've been trying to decide, like, should he just give it up and we'll purchase it and then we can all watch it? And he's like, no, I've got it and I'm happy with it. So it's kind of ended up in this netherworld of and the bottom line is I haven't seen Get Back yet, which is a bit embarrassing in my.
Well, it's
Yes.
worth watching if you get an opportunity.
Vic, you were up here. I'm sorry, man. You were up here. Now, no.
I know, man. I got to get back up there.
Yeah.
Still up there.
We'll let it be. We will let it be.
You'll let it be.
Even though you didn't let me down, we will let it be. I've got a feeling you will watch it soon. Okay.
Well, there's the two of us. Oh no, the three of us.
Vic, one thing that is cool in it is that you see, and I'm not going to spoil it, but you see McCartney Get Back comes out of thin air. You see him, the genesis of the song Get Back, and it's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. So,
yeah. I mean, what's I know that you want to wrap up here soon, but what's interesting to me is that as a songwriter, I don't always find those moments as interesting as other people sometimes. And the reason for that is because I'm kind of used to the creative process.
Right.
And even though that song is, or that album or pretty much any Beatles music is just part of the fabric of all of our lives, it's, it's hard to even imagine them sitting down and writing a song because we've always heard it just as it is. Like it's always been that way. Right. But somehow understanding that creative process, you think I would be maybe more than the average bear would look at a moment like the kernel of where Get Back came from and go, oh, that's so incredible. But I don't know, maybe it's because like, well, okay, so they came up with the drum groove first, maybe, or maybe he came up with the chuk 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 whatever, and then they all kind of, like it's there is some magic, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining it too well, but
you can see behind the curtain more. So
you see a little bit, yes, because you're experienced with
it. Is that's a great way to put it, Craig. Yeah, it's like maybe there's just a little peek behind the curtain of what the creative process is. So, it's kind of like, okay, I used the word magic. Here's the great analogy: is watching a magician to me is truly magic because I'm like, what did that guy just do?
Sure.
I don't get it. I don't know how it's done. I haven't got a clue, but with music, I do have a little bit of a clue because I've been doing it my whole life and I've been around lots of other creative people and I've seen the creative spark from people I admire that I've either worked with or just watched. And so you're right. That's exactly the perfect phrase, Craig. I've seen peek behind the curtain a little bit, which doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't love to watch the movie. But
it'll be a different movie for you than it was for a lot of people.
Maybe a little. Yeah. Maybe. But I still can't wait to see it. And I've only, like most people, I'd only seen the 2 hours or whatever the original Let It Be movie was.
Right.
So seeing all this extra footage and the extra stuff that goes on will be quite entertaining. Like I said,
it's amazing. It is just amazing.
I can't say that I have, but
Vic.
What's your favorite music documentary? Well, my question to you guys before we wrap up.
Oh man.
Give me two even. It can include the Beatles one, but just what
the Get Back one for me, it was really good, and I'm going to say that one. That's probably my favorite one so far.
Okay, wow, that's good.
That's tough. I really like the Monterey Pop Festival a lot. I also like, gosh, it's tough. Get Back, I love, of course. I like Dylan's "Don't Look Back." Gosh, anything the Miles Brothers do. They did a bunch of rock. I mean, Give Me Shelter. Powerful film.
Yeah.
It's not something I want to watch all the time. The Rise and Fall of Western Civilization. Another great documentary. I mean, that's a tough question, Vic. I can't either or it.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of great ones out there for sure. So it is a tough one, but I'd just be interested to see which ones you guys.
What about you, Vic?
Doing some behind the scenes stuff with yours.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You ought to do some of that, Vic. That'd make a great EPK. Electronic electronic press kit.
Yeah, well, Steve does like to take pictures and film stuff now and
There
then.
you
So
go.
you never know. Maybe. Well, I love a lot of music documentaries. I mean, Searching for the Sugar Man comes to mind.
Oh yes, yeah.
Or is that what's called, Searching for the Sugar Man? Or
Yeah.
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 That one just is mind blowing. But one of the ones that I just loved, and maybe it's because it was made by a proper filmmaker, was the Running Down a Dream, the Tom Petty movie.
Great.
I've not
Yes.
seen that one.
It's
I'm not-
really
Oh, you have?
long.
Oh, Craig, you have to. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I've
like
got it.
3.5 hours long. You can watch it in pieces, but the
Yeah.
footage and the interview pieces, it's just it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is really good. Oh, who's the director that did that? Oh, come on.
Bogdanovich.
Yes, Bogdanovich. Yes, Peter Bogdanovich. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, guys, I've got to run. Got to work tomorrow. Day
It's been a
gig.
blast. We appreciate it, Vic.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. I can't wait to catch it on the flip.
All right.
Vic, thanks for hanging out. Star Collector coming to a radio station near you real soon.
That's right.
See you, Vic. Thanks a lot.
See you, Craig. You bet.
Appreciate it.
You bet.